There's a moment that flips everything. It's not when you block her, not when you try to make her jealous, not even when you finally stop crying. It's when she looks at you and realizes you're no longer the same man who once begged to be understood. You've changed. Quietly, calmly, powerfully. And that realization doesn't just sting, it shakes her, because nothing is louder than a man who found peace after the storm. You see, what truly terrifies people is not your rage, not your heartbreak, not even your distance. It's your evolution. It's when you rise so silently that they can no longer recognize the version of you they thought they could control. She expected to see you broken, watching her, needing her. Instead, she sees your calm, your glow, your freedom, and that is a feeling she can't explain away. This isn't about pretending. This is about becoming the man who no longer needs to prove his worth to anyone. And once you reach that point, your silence becomes unforgettable, your growth becomes undeniable, your energy becomes magnetic. So don't scroll away, because what you're about to understand in the next few minutes will change how you see everything. Not just her, but yourself. By the end of this, you'll know why your calm is more dangerous than your anger, why your growth shakes her to her core, and why silence can make her feel what words never could. Stay right here, because this right here is where everything begins to shift. Peace is a language that doesn't need words. It doesn't demand attention, it commands it. And that is exactly why it's so powerful. When you finally stop explaining yourself to someone who already made up their mind, when you stop chasing validation from the very person who took your love for granted, something shifts in the dynamic. She begins to feel the weight of your silence, not as an empty space, but as a presence she can no longer control. That's what happens when peace enters the room. It changes everything without making a sound. Most people expect emotional reactions when they walk away. They expect tears, rage, blame, or desperation. But when you respond with nothing but calm acceptance, it's unsettling. Because now the emotional power that once belonged to them has returned to you. She expected you to crumble. She expected your identity to remain tied to her attention. But peace is a declaration that you've detached from the need to be understood by someone who was never willing to see your worth in the first place. The truth is, silence and peace are terrifying to the human ego. When you stop reacting, you remove the mirror that was feeding her sense of control. Your previous reactions, your calls, your explanations, your emotional outbursts were proof she still mattered in your world. But the day you let go, the day your energy no longer revolves around her, she starts to feel the void she created. That void doesn't come from hatred or resentment. It comes from your evolution. You're no longer in a battle to be heard. You're walking away with your dignity intact. And here's the psychological twist that most people miss. When someone sees you in pain, they feel validated in their choice to leave or neglect you. But when they see you in peace, they're forced to confront themselves. They're forced to ask questions they never wanted to ask. Was I not as important as I thought? Did I lose something I'll never get back? How did he move on so effortlessly? Peace quietly hands them a mirror, and what they see is no longer your pain, it's their loss. This is where your silence becomes louder than any revenge. Because peace is not weakness. Peace is power under control. It's the moment you stop performing for someone's attention and start reclaiming your energy. She sees it in your eyes when you no longer flinch at her name. She feels it in your absence when you no longer check her updates or wait for her response. She notices it in your posture, in your energy, in your life moving forward without needing to prove anything. And make no mistake, peace isn't about pretending. It's not about posting fake smiles or forcing yourself to look happy. True peace is quiet confidence. It's when your self-worth no longer depends on being chosen. It's when you realize that walking away is not a loss, it's a return to yourself. That's what shakes her. because she didn't just lose a person who loved her, she lost the emotional access she once had to you. And that access is everything. Think about this carefully. If anger shouts, peace whispers. And what do people lean in to hear? The whisper, because it carries more truth. It carries the strength of someone who no longer needs to fight to be seen. That's why peace hits deeper than any loud reaction. It's controlled, it's intentional, it's unshakable. The most shocking part is this: when you finally stop fighting for someone, they often begin to fight with themselves. Your silence forces them into their own mind, their own insecurities, their own regrets, and no amount of ego can protect them from that mirror. You may not say a single word, but your energy will speak for you. And that energy says, I've outgrown the version of me that begged to be chosen. I choose me now. And that's the real moment they feel it. That's the moment your peace echoes louder than any closure they ever denied you. Because peace is not passive, it's power that has mastered control. And once you reach that level, nothing they do or say can shake you anymore. So when she sees you've moved on peacefully, understand this: your silence is not empty. It's full of strength. It's full of boundaries. It's full of growth. And in that silence, she will hear everything she was too blind to see when you were giving her your heart. Let that be your reminder. Your calm is not for her to understand, it's for you to own. Don't speak to prove a point. Let your peace be the point. Growth is something that can't be faked. You can pretend to move on, you can post pictures trying to look happy, you can distract yourself with noise and movement. But real growth has a quiet energy. It's not loud, it's not desperate, and it's not about showing anyone how well you're doing. It's about becoming someone different inside. And that's the moment everything shifts. Because when a woman sees that kind of growth, it's not something she can just scroll past or dismiss. It hits her somewhere deeper than ego. In the beginning, she might have assumed that you'd stay stuck. Maybe she thought the pain would consume you, that your world would keep revolving around her absence. But what she didn't expect was the version of you that emerges when you stop waiting for someone to come back and start becoming the man they were never ready for. That's the part that unsettles her the most. Not because you're trying to prove anything to her, but because you've proven everything to yourself. True growth is quiet. It doesn't need to be announced because it speaks through your energy, your discipline, your peace. She begins to notice it in the way you talk, not bitter, not emotional, just detached and clear. She notices it in the way your world has expanded without her in it. New habits, new direction, new confidence. The things that once consumed you don't control you anymore. And that's when it starts to hit her that she's no longer the center of your world. Psychologically, when someone believes they have emotional power over you, it feeds their ego. It reassures them that no matter what happens, you'll still be there, orbiting around them. But when you grow, when you rise beyond that emotional orbit, it triggers something powerful in them. It confronts them with the truth they never wanted to face. They're no longer a part of your story's center. That realization isn't just humbling, it's destabilizing, because it's easy to feel powerful when someone is stuck, but it's terrifying to see them outgrow you. This is why your growth isn't just about healing yourself. It's about reclaiming your narrative. Every moment you invest in becoming better, in building your life, in walking with purpose, you silently rewrite the story she thought she knew about you. You're no longer the man who waited for her attention. You're the man who built his life in its absence. And here's the part that always stings the most. People rarely value what they believe they can always have. But the moment they sense it's truly gone, that's when they start to see its worth. She'll replay moments in her mind. She'll look at you differently. Not because you're trying to make her jealous, but because your energy has changed. You're no longer seeking validation, and that shift is magnetic. It's human nature to be drawn to what no longer needs us. It's in that moment she'll start to ask herself silent questions she'll never say out loud. Did I make a mistake? Was he always this strong? How did I not see this version of him before? Those questions echo louder than any conversation you could ever have. And here's the deeper layer of this transformation: growth is not about making her feel regret. It's about you reclaiming the version of yourself you lost trying to be enough for someone else. It's about rediscovering your own strength, your own power, your own direction. It's about realizing that love should never cost you your identity. So when she sees you thriving, when she sees your focus shift from her to yourself, it's not just shocking, it's unforgettable. Because now she's witnessing something rare. Someone who didn't need revenge to rise, someone who simply became better. And the truth is, growth is louder than any message you could send. No explanation, no text, no long conversation can have the same impact as your transformation. Because words can be argued with, but energy can't be denied. She'll feel it even in your silence. She'll sense it when she sees how little her opinion defines you now. That's what unsettles her. That's what makes her question her choices. Let her feel that distance. Let her witness your evolution without needing to involve her in it. Because the real power isn't in proving that you've moved on. It's in actually moving on. It's in showing without ever needing to say that your life doesn't pause for someone who walked away. So when she sees you've grown, understand this: that's the moment the story changes. Not for her, for you. You become untouchable, not because she can't reach you, but because you no longer need to be reached. Your growth becomes your voice. Your success becomes your statement. Your new energy becomes your loudest truth. And the most powerful part of this entire journey is this: she may remember the man she left, but she'll never forget the man you became after. There's a point in healing where you stop needing to explain, defend, or prove anything. That moment is quiet, but it's powerful. It's the moment when your calm becomes your strength and your silence becomes your loudest statement. And this is exactly what most people underestimate. They assume that power comes from shouting the loudest, proving them wrong, or getting the last word. But real power isn't about reaction. Real power is about no longer needing to react at all. When you reach a state where you're no longer emotionally charged by what happened, something shifts between you and the person who once had access to your deepest emotions. She expected anger, she expected resentment, she expected your energy to stay attached to her presence or absence. What she didn't expect was indifference wrapped in calm. That shakes her more than any argument ever could, because anger still means you care. Revenge still means you're tied to her emotionally. But silence, real, grounded silence, means you've stepped out of her emotional orbit completely. People can fight anger. They can defend themselves against accusations. They can play power games when there's drama. But what they can't fight is peace, because peace gives them nothing to grab onto, nothing to manipulate, nothing to control. And that's what makes your calm so dangerous. She can no longer control the narrative. She can't draw you back in with guilt or pride or emotional triggers. Because when your calm is real, it's unshakable. This is not about pretending to be okay. Pretending is loud. Pretending needs an audience. But real calm is different. It comes from clarity. It comes from the deep realization that not everything or everyone deserves your energy. It's the understanding that some endings don't need closure, they just need distance. That kind of calm doesn't just affect her, it unsettles her. It forces her to face herself without your emotional reactions to distract her. And here's the truth most people don't realize: the moment you stop chasing, the power dynamic flips. The control she once felt isn't real anymore, because control only exists when someone still needs something from you: attention, validation, reaction. Once you take that away, the power returns to where it always belonged: with you. Your silence becomes a mirror, and mirrors are uncomfortable when someone is not ready to face their reflection. Psychologically, humans are wired to feel a sense of control when they know they can trigger a reaction. That's why arguments, games, and emotional cycles repeat. But when you detach with calm, you're breaking that loop. You're teaching both yourself and her that your emotional world doesn't belong to anyone else. That's a boundary she didn't expect you to build, and it's a boundary she can't cross once it's there. There's also something undeniably magnetic about peace. When you're calm, you stand out in a world where everyone is desperate to prove, fight, and shout. Your calm presence creates a space where her ego begins to feel small. And it's not because you're trying to make her feel anything. It's because your energy no longer revolves around her. She begins to question why you're not reacting, why you're not fighting back, why you're not chasing anymore. That questioning is louder than any confrontation you could create. Your calm also protects your dignity. And dignity is something that lingers long after emotions fade. When she remembers you, she won't remember the arguments. She'll remember the way you walked away. She'll remember the strength in your silence. She'll remember the moment she lost emotional access to a man who once cared deeply, but now stands untouchable. That image is far more powerful than anything you could ever say. This is why you should never underestimate the power of calm detachment. It's not weakness. It's not giving up. It's choosing to protect your peace over engaging in a war that doesn't serve your soul anymore. It's refusing to let someone keep pressing buttons they no longer have access to. It's the quiet realization that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves a reaction from it. And in that stillness, in that calm power, you rise. She'll feel it. Not because you're forcing her to, but because real power doesn't need to be forced. It's sensed, it's felt, it lingers. So when she sees that your calm isn't a performance, but a transformation, she'll understand something she never did before. You don't need to win her back. And you don't need to prove your worth. You've already won by not needing the validation you once begged for. Let your calm be the loudest message she ever hears. Because in a world full of noise, silence will always echo the longest.